Actually, go back real quick to that slide. There's actually something I want to touch on the top of my head. So talking about chronic stress, weight gain, poor sleep. So chronic stress, the hormone that gets released during that is called cortisol. Cortisol, it's created by our brain, but it's what's being released when we perceive a stressor. And what it does is it goes and mobilizes, it causes other hormones to get released. And it's going to cause blood sugar to increase because it's going to mobilize sugar storages or fat storages from my body. So it's going to get into my bloodstream. So it's going to increase sugar levels. But then, if my blood sugar is too high, then how am I going to get the blood sugar back down? I'm going to start releasing insulin. In which case, insulin or chronic insulin release over decades is what ends up leading to diabetes because we become insensitive to it, and then our cells aren't able to actually put in, or we're not able to open the doors anymore from allowing the blood sugar in. So essentially it's like, I've been doing this way too much, I'm going to take a break. We're just going to leave the blood sugar out there, or we're going to try releasing more and more insulin, and eventually the pancreas is going to be like, yep, it's retirement, good luck. And but the big thing is, if we constantly are having cortisol being released, and we're constantly trying to mobilize blood sugar, and then we need to keep putting it away, that means our body's going to continue sensing, like, hey, my cells aren't getting blood sugar, I'm still hungry, so I'm going to keep on eating. And so with this chronic stress, that can be a big link to weight gain, because our system is not recognizing that it's telling me that I'm hungry all the time because I'm constantly stressed out. And then that can then lead to diabetes. So hormones play a huge role in terms of how weight gain can occur with chronic stress. And sleep, the reason why sleep is so critical is it plays a huge impact on our hormones, on just regulating them, having proper levels of testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, all the things that really dictate how we operate during the day is controlled through our sleep. So if we're not having good sleep, then we're going to have higher levels of cortisol, stressed out, higher levels of epinephrine, norepinephrine, basically all of our stress hormones that make me want to make me want to run away from the lion that's staring me right outside that door. So that's actually a really critical link that I think people forget is, why am I gaining weight when I'm doing all this exercise? Are you actually exercising to reduce stress, or are you forcing yourself into a stress state, in which case then that exercise is actually more consequential versus productive? So now we kind of hammer that stuff. Guys have any questions about this? Anything come in mind?
Is cortisol the adrenals?
Yeah, stress
Yes.
hormone. Yep.
Okay,
From the
okay.
adrenals. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so adrenals are releasing cortisol, norepinephrine, epinephrine. They're also releasing aldosterone, so that's for sodium. They're also releasing a couple more. I think not growth hormone. Yeah, I'm a little bit out of school a little bit. There's a couple.
Does your adjustments help with hormone and adrenals too?
Yeah, well, we see it especially a lot in endometriosis, because obviously there's a lack of with endometriosis, especially when we get around cycles, we start to get flare-ups, and it's because of an irregular hormone balance. And so what we do is we help equalize the hormone balance due to nervous system output by correcting that. Yep.
Because a lot of people now are getting those hormone pellets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're saying with your type of adjustment, your body can just do it naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of having to do that.
Where we don't have to take external things for an internal gain.
Okay.
Yeah. Because our body's been intelligently designed to be able to heal itself. You know, I think
Right.
we all share that philosophy. If I cut
Right.
myself, I don't have to look at it and like magically say heal, right? It just does it. And in the same way, the nervous system does that for every single hormone, every single cell, every single tissue, every single organ inside of our body. Yep.
Yeah, because hormones are it's communication. So it's the same concept as, how does rain happen? Well, there's water gets sucked up from some body of water, whether it's a lake or an ocean, and then it's going to condense, it's going to make a cloud, and then eventually that water is going to get released, rain, back in water, so it's a cycle. And so hormones, it's a relay system where we sense the level of whatever hormones in our blood. There's a center in our brain that senses that, and then it's going to send releasing hormone, and then that hormone sends another releasing hormone, and then the actual hormone that we talk about get released. So it's almost like a 3-4 kind of hormone circuit for.
Is that the pituitary?
Yep. So
Okay.
it's hypothalamus talking to pituitary, pituitary talking to body, body talking back to hypothalamus.
And then a lot of the chiropractors don't do that type of adjustment.
Yeah, and it's
Because I've been going to a chiropractor for, oh gosh, if y'all know how much money I spent, probably
But this one is
30 years.
that word.
specific.
Right. See, I've been,
And
and
there's
I
not-
have been consistently going to a chiropractor for 30 years. And
Yeah.
I'm not better, I'm worse.
Yeah.
That's why I need to know why you're different.
Yeah, well, we're gonna touch on that.
Yeah.
All those questions are gonna make
Okay.
sense pretty soon. So it's things to kind of do at home. So a lot of this is really mindset, not necessarily just tangible things. I think for the most part, what I've just been observing is we really want to just get some kind of quick fix, some kind of just tangible thing that's going to make me instantly sleep better. But really, it's a whole habit change that that needs to occur. And so these are just some ideas that have helped other people. It's helped myself. So I track my sleep. Actually, you showed me the app. Probably about just a few weeks from me moving here. You were looking at this app that looked pretty cool, and I was like, what the heck is that? And so it's called Auto Sleep. I can go around and show it. So it's got a little moon right there. Do you guys have watches or things that are able to track it?
It tracks.
Okay, but see, I thought you were supposed to get your phone out of your bedroom and not be wearing these.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
So yeah,
That part is
so
true.
phones for sure out of the bedroom, tablets out of the bedroom, and I mean.
Like, do you sleep with that watch on?
Yes,
Yep.
because I track my sleep.
Because it tracks it.
Yeah.
But isn't that bad for your body?
It could be, depends on.
So are you talking more for like the
The
rate-
EMS and.
EMS?
yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. That's actually why before I go to bed I put it on airplane mode.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because when you put it on airplane mode, what happens is you're not going to get notifications, right? Unless they come through the watch. But I have all my notifications. Like the only notifications I get are phone calls from this. But if I have it on airplane mode, phone calls aren't going to go to my watch anyway. Airplane mode also turns off EMF radiations coming and emitting from a device, which is why and the reason why it does that is because airplane mode shuts off all of that because those are the same emissions that interfere with the plane's controls and stuff like that, which is why they tell you to put it on airplane mode. So if you have a watch or something like that or a Bluetooth and you put it on airplane mode, it's actually going to block out all of that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Do your phones automatically switch to sleep mode? You guys seen that?
You can put it on a sleep
Yeah, so like mine,
habit.
if you go on down here, you go where it says focus.
Mm-hmm.
You go where it says focus. Do you have an iPhone or no?
Mm-hmm.
So
But I don't have
where it says
that.
focus, so you just
Focus.
you just hold that down, and
I
then
know how
there's
to text and call.
there should be a
Yep.
sleep option. So when you do
Oh,
a sleep option, it takes out like all the color, it takes off
and it does the
anything.
airplane mode?
It's the same concept. So
Oh.
and mine automatically turns on at 8 p.m.
Oh.
It's the same concept, but if you want to turn off the emissions, you have to put it on airplane mode.
Oh, okay.
You have to put it on airplane mode specifically because if you put it
Okay,
on
I didn't
sleep,
know
it'll
that.
still run through the Wi-Fi.
Got it.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
That's good to know.
See, I keep, if you were to do an audit of my bedroom, I keep it in Oasis. And I mean, that's one room in the house that me and my wife were like, look, this room is, like, oh yeah, like this room, no toys, no phones, nothing in there. And we don't bring our phones in there. The only thing I'll bring in there, we both have Apple Watches because we both track our sleep. But we'll wear Apple Watches and we'll put it on airplane mode. So that way, even those signals that are being sent off don't interfere with our sleep. I mean, I'm very weird about sleep.
Is
Very
your phone on airplane mode or just that watch?
So I just turned my watch in airplane mode.
And your phone stays in the
Exactly.
kitchen or,
Yep. So
but
we
you
have.
have to leave your phone on.
Yeah.
You have to leave it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why I leave my phone on too, I mean, it doesn't really change anything. But if someone called me, because I typically start winding down about 8 o'clock. So if someone called me between that time, I'll see it in the morning. That's why I keep it on, and I'd rather see the time that they called, because sometimes if you turn your phone off and turn it back on,
You can't see.
you can't see exactly when someone called.
Okay.
Yeah, so I personally, I need to be better about staying off my phone because for myself, I end up most likely talking. So I try to be in bed by 9 o'clock. Like I'm in bed, ready to rock. I don't care what's going on. I'm in bed.
Yep.
But what happens is leading up to that point, I'm typically talking to like family members or friends back home, just because that's the time. That's this tiny window where we're both probably off because they're 2 hours behind. So most part, from 8 to 9, I'm probably talking to like my dad or my mom. And then like I have to tell them like, all right, time to go to bed. I'm gonna go brush my teeth.
So do you try to be asleep by 10 then?
No, I try to be like I'm hopping off the phone at like 8:50, 8:55.
Oh, you try to be asleep by 9,
I'm in bed, and then if
but
I'm
like asleep. Cause I can be in bed, but that don't mean I'm asleep.
Oh,
so that's
That's
variable.
the difference.
That's variable.
Yeah.
In which case, if I'm in the mood, I'll read.
Oh, okay.
So that's a big thing for me is what are like 2 or 3 things that I can kind of do to just separate my day. So basically, like when I think of sleep, so for me, sleep is from about 9:30 p.m. to about 5:30 a.m. Okay, and then for myself, I create a buffer from about 5:30 to about 7:38, where I'm not doing work stuff, I'm not on my phone, and then I have a little bit of a buffer from like 8 to 9 or so. And part of that 8 to 9 slot of what I'm doing beforehand, that's talking to most likely parents or maybe a friend from home or something. And then by about 9, I'm in bed. And sometimes I'm able to fall asleep like that, just because I'm gassed from being up from 5:30. I'm literally doing stuff at 5:30 till about 8. I don't stop. And then I'm about at that point where when my head hits the pillow, it's comfortable. But there might also be times where I need to do things that help me, facilitate sleep. And so at the end of the day, if I just start looking at words and I do my best to focus on them, probably by about page 3 or 4, I'm starting to do that. So that's a way for me to just kind of trigger it. Another thing that really helps out too is I take my mouth shut. That probably sounds kind of weird.
I heard that.
But yeah, so that's a big thing, just because we're actually supposed to breathe through our nose. As humans, we're designed to do that. When we got introduced and exposed to fire as cavemen, having that accessibility to meat, cooked meat, made our brains grow bigger, and that took away space from our nasal cavity. So our nose started getting pointed downwards instead of out, and that impacted airflow, which is why we started mouth breathing, and that's pretty much when chronic disease began. That's when misshapen teeth began. That's when people getting sick due to bacteria and viruses began. So we're actually supposed to nose breathe. And sleep's critical for that because, like we were saying a couple slides ago, one of the big things that mess up sleep is lack of circulation, lack of neurogenesis, and